All right, so the February 2026 Dead by Daylight community stream just wrapped up, I think, yesterday, and there actually was a decent amount to talk about. Some balancing changes are definitely coming. Matchmaking was addressed again. Map balance is still under, like, the microscope, obviously, and they teased future content without revealing it. Classic behavior move there. So we're going to break it all down in a simple way to talk about what this actually means for us, the Dead by Daylight community. One of the main things discussed was balance. The developers, they're continuing to adjust different killers and perks and make matches feel, I guess, more fair and less frustrating, is what they said. Some perks that haven't been performing too well are getting toned down, while weaker perks are being buffed, so they actually are or feel like they're worth running. The goal here seems to be reducing these feel impossible, or this feels impossible matches on both sides, whether you're a survivor or a killer. I think some of the maps did have some strong loops, as well as sometimes hooks being oriented funny. I think that's like the biggest one for me. Like they're running parallel, like with a wall and stuff like that. But some loops did seem like they were very strong, in my personal opinion, and using the shift tech method works very well with these strong loops. And if you're a survivor and you know these loops, you can use the shift tech, and it just becomes an infinite loop at that point. They also talked about bug fixes and the quality of life improvements, known issues that have been affecting gameplay and improving overall stability. Nothing too flashy at this point. But honestly, these updates matter a lot in the long term. A smoother gameplay is always better than broken ones, I guess, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like Dead by Daylight is smooth at all. Matchmaking came up yet again, which isn't surprising, to be honest with you. The devs acknowledged players' concerns and said they're continuing to review data and the feedback that the community has been giving them. They didn't promise any massive changes overnight, but they did make it clear that matchmaking is still something that they're actively working on. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what exactly those will be. Now, they also did mention map balancing. Some maps are still being evaluated over their very strong loops and or frustrating layouts. It sounds like they want matches to feel a lot more consistent and less dependent on the map's RNG, from what I could gather from what they were saying. The maps that I struggle with are like the swamp map for some reason and the new Ormond. Not necessarily those are part of what they were talking about. It's just ones that came to my thought process whenever they were talking about it. So the new map, from what we saw, this map leans heavily into atmosphere for sure. I mean, it feels darker, tighter, and more controlled compared to some of the larger, more RNG heavy maps that we've had. The layout looks way more structured, which could mean fewer extreme strong loops, but we'll need to see how it plays in live matches and if the loops are actually going to be fair and rotations feel balanced, whatever. This could actually improve the match pacing instead of dragging games out in the long run. Map design matters more than people realize, and one strong tile can definitely decide an entire match. So this map could quietly be one of the most important parts of this update. Now let's talk about the Trickster. He's always been in that kind of weird spot, strong in certain situations, but very inconsistent and map dependent. From what the devs explain, this rework is going to focus on making him feel more reliable and less frustrating to play as. If they improve his pressure and reduce downtime between injuries and downs, he could finally feel like a consistent mid-tier threat, if you think, instead of being kind of that niche pick. The key will be whether this makes him oppressive or just viable, because there's a big difference between buffed and unhealthy. Let's be serious. If this rework is done right, Trickster actually could enter the meta, if you will, in the meaningful way. Now, as a killer main, my main is Springtrap because I've gone through many different mains since I started playing this game, but I've never actually cared for the Trickster at all. And then just recently on stream, I was like, you know what? Let's take a look at Trickster and see, or I stopped playing Dead by Daylight before they reworked Trickster at all. I think it's almost very unfair, I guess, if you really think about it, because I was getting insane. I don't know. It could have just been MMR. I was getting insane downs because as soon as you fill up his meter and injure them, you're able to go into main event right away. And it seemed like I would just get them down like that. So in a way, I really hope that this rework for Trickster is actually done right. So I guess that they're going to have like a tier system, kind of, it seems very like Tekken related, if you will, because they have to where it says, like, whenever you hit people with your knives, which they've decreased the number of knives you can carry, whenever you hit them with their knives, you get like style points, I guess. And so what it will do is it'll fill up that meter, and whenever you get to S tier, you're able to enter main event. And then as you actually are in main event and you actually hit your shots or you hit your knives, you'll actually replenish some of that style point meter, and you will be able to enter main event again sooner. So this one, I'm not too sure how this is going to be. Is it going to be any better? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see for the PTB. So we'll see how that goes. So now let's talk about the new killer. And I'm going to be completely honest here. I'm not fully convinced it is something completely new. I'm really not. He looks cool. I'm excited. But it's nothing new that we've been shown. Survivors can be sent to a separate realm, which, while on Hook, where they play a little mini game and by collecting crystals before returning. But we've actually seen something very similar before, because during the past Halloween events, survivors entered those blue vortex tornado things and areas on the that were on areas on the map, and they completed little mini objectives in a separate space. So mechanically, this idea of leaving the main map to do a side objective isn't something brand new to Dead by Daylight. It feels way more like an evolution of an existing mechanic rather than something that is completely groundbreaking. And then there's his power. From what we've seen so far, it feels very much similar to Vecna or Henry in terms of arranged pressure and the ability design. Again, not bad, but nothing revolutionary. It doesn't feel like a new category of killer. It feels like a refinement of tools we have already had. Now, that doesn't mean he won't be fun, or execution is what matters rather than the concept. If pacing feels good, if gameplay exists, and the power has the depth, he could still be a strong addition. But in terms of innovation, I'm not seeing something we haven't already experienced in some form. Now, again, I think he looks cool. I like what they're doing with this chapter because they're having the community get involved and vote on certain things of what they want. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes out, or how this plays out. But like I said, in my personal opinion, this is nothing revolutionary. It seems like it's something that we've already had. It's just now they're making it more permanent into the game. I'm more or less excited for what they're going to look like. I like the idea and the concept and all that stuff, but I don't know. I guess time will tell on the new killer. During the Q&A portion, they answered players' questions about the future of gameplay and overall direction that Dead by Daylight is going. They emphasize they're listening to feedback and focusing on the long-term game's health. So no huge bombshells revealed here, but it shows that they are still engaged with the community. I'll just leave it at that. They also teased future content is coming later this year, just like they said in the roadmap. New characters are on the way and upcoming events are planned. They didn't reveal anything just yet. Just enough to keep everyone, I guess, speculating. It's what Dead by Daylight is really good at doing, or behavior rather. Overall, though, this stream felt more focused on refining the game rather than introducing something massive. So balances, tweaks, matchmaking, updates, and future content teases like always. Steady improvements instead of big shocks. And now the real question is, though, will these changes actually improve the experience of the game? So for that, I want you guys to let me know what you think down in the comments. Is this good? Is it bad? Do you think anything will change at all? And if you find this helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification, especially if you want more Dead by Daylight updates and killer gameplay, as well as other horror games. And I hope to see you guys very soon. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for watching.